I would start with saying and using an example of something we're building right now, which is one of the key components of responding to this energy growth and this opportunity for U.S. to assert its energy dominance is the build out of our transmission system. And right now we have under construction the only large HVDC project in the United States that's going forward. And it's mid-construction. And so it's an $11 billion venture. That's the largest energy venture that I'm aware of in the US, and it's going extraordinarily well. So I see with load growth that's coming to us, driven partly by the electrification of really many things, but specifically AI and the data centers, that for the first time in 20 years, we have growth. And that is going to facilitate building out our aging electrical grid to respond to this new energy opportunity. And I believe that Pattern, we've had a really good run at actually responding to that by both building transmission and renewables. We see more of that coming forward. Really good question. And then the best way to say that is going fantastically well. And I think a bigger question is, why is it going so well? And I have to say it is because of the intense detail we went into planning every step of the execution. And through the deep partnership that we had with our vendors, specifically Quanta, GE, Vestas, and Hitachi. And for really each of those vendors, this is one of their most critical projects. So not only did we plan and have a detailed execution plan, which we're actually ahead of schedule on, but for each of those vendors, this project was one of the more critical projects for their company to show that they could do this. Because right now, our country needs more of these significant commitments to large infrastructure build out. And it's critical that this go well. I mean, when you mentioned the financing, that involved 16 banks all committing $750 million a pop to basically support us funding and building this out. And so it had to go well. So I'm thrilled to report that right now it is going terrifically well, and we look to be actually energized a little ahead of schedule, and we're coming in within our budget, which is not something you usually hear about when you're building projects like this. You know, it's very exciting to get the commitment of these new pension funds to come in and basically buy out Riverstone. Now, Riverstone was our founding partner. They were the party that helped fund the management buyout back in 2009 when we formed the company. And they've been with us for nearly 15 years. And it's been a wonderful relationship. And I'm super pleased that we were able to find a constructive exit for them, but we were able to replace them with a group of pension funds that are excited to work with the Canadian Pension Plan, which is our majority investor. And so it really puts Pattern in a position where we have a deep pool of private capital that all have a long-term perspective that is aligned with these extremely exciting projects that Pattern has in front of us. And so I see the opportunity to do even more. And I know they're actually excited to even put more money into making projects like SunZia, Southern Spirit, and our next wave of exciting initiatives come to reality. You know, Southern Spirit, you know, I was asked when I was meeting with my operational team, which was kind of a trick question. They said, Hunter, tell me what is your favorite project that we have in our portfolio? And each of them wanted me to answer their project that they're responsible for. Well, my answer was Southern Spirit, because we haven't done it yet. And the idea of connecting the ERCOT grid, which is not synchronous with the Eastern grid, and basically moving power both directions to basically create capacity in ERCOT. Because basically what we've seen is when we've looked at the disruptions to the grid in ERCOT and in the Southeast, that they do not disrupt at the same time. And so what that basically means is by interconnecting the two grids, you're creating capacity in both grids. That improves resiliency and would have been a wonderful force if had it existed during Uri. And what's really changed in the Southeast that is basically creating, I hope, the likelihood that will be soon under construction is there's been significant load growth within the Southeast. And so they also need more resources. And as it turns out, the time when they need those resources, ERCOT also has some resources to share with them. And so the line really helps both sides. And it also has really the side effect, because it's not connected to any generation or any renewables, but it has the side effect of basically providing energy from ERCOT, which has basically transitioned into a lower carbon grid that can be delivered into the Southeast. So it provides cheap energy, it provides capacity, and it gives folks in the Southeast access to renewable energy if they so choose. Well, I see that, as I said before, I really feel like this new demand growth is going to create the opportunity to motivate more transmission, interconnecting our regions, a bit like the interstate highway system. And so I think that by creating a deeper grid that creates more pathways for energy to flow. My feeling is that the US is so blessed to have everything. They have gas, they have wind, they have solar, and the thing we probably don't have quite enough of is transmission. Now, that said, I see that right now in the short term, while we're setting up in order to respond with some dispatchable resources, renewables is the available resource that can meet some of the expanding energy demands. And so I see in the short term, renewables continuing to respond. And I think over long term, we still have very deep interest from all of our customers who would like to see a more and more low carbon grid. So I see a very healthy long-term prospects for both the growth of renewables and the expansion of our grid.